So with the 37th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select a guard from Alabama, Landon Dickerson.
Landon Dickerson played for the Crimson Tide, got injured in the SEC Championship in 2020 against the Gators with ACL again, wasn't it? So he's had a few injuries. He tore the ACL, season injury when he was in college, he had an ankle fracture where he had a tightrope procedure. That's where the syndesmosis is disrupted. So there's a ligament that holds these two bones together in the ankle, the tibia and the fibula. It's called the syndesmosis. If that rips, you have ankle instability. We sometimes still do. We put in a couple of screws to hold it together. But he had what's called a tightrope procedure, where they used a braided type of suture, or suture to hold that syndesmosis together until it healed. That's essentially what you want to do. That's kind of nice because you don't have to go out and take a piece of metal out, or you don't have to worry about a piece of metal breaking. He had that ankle injury, and then he tore that ACL in that game against the Gators in the SEC Championship. So he's been drafted by the Eagles. Okay, so are there going to be issues? Well, I mean, anybody who's had injuries, you always have to be concerned. But like I said, these athletes are not like the rest of us. Remember Terrell Owens, who I always refer to? He had a syndesmosis injury. Remember? He had the syndesmosis injury and had the surgery where they put metal inside, a couple of screws, and 6 weeks later he went and played in the Super Bowl. I thought the guy was going to jack himself up. He did fine. These guys recover from the injuries and go on to be pretty productive. Who else? ACL injury. Adrian Peterson tore his ACL, came back the next season, and what was his rushing? Couple thousand yards. If I tore my ACL, I'd be hobbling along for the rest of my life. I'm not that great of an athlete, but these guys are superhuman. Anyway. For somebody to work that hard, to get injured, to come back and still play, and then still get drafted, people see that potential. I mean, are there reasons to be concerned? Yeah, sure, there are reasons to be concerned with every athlete, especially one that's had some injuries. But yeah, you got to give these guys a shot because they might just surprise you. There are plenty of athletes who come back from injuries and do extremely well. We'll see what happens.
What's the risk for re-injuring after an ACL tear? Is it higher than not having an ACL tear?
That's an interesting question. Because depending on the type of ACL repair that's done, the new ACL actually has a higher tension strength. It's actually stronger than the native ACL, right? So. Does that lead to less of a chance of re-injuring? Possibly. But there's also other factors into it. How well did the surgery go? Was everything put in just right? Was the ACL graft tension just right? Then how much stress is going to be placed on it? So people do fine. Like I said, Adrian Peterson had an ACL reconstruction and came back and did extremely well. Didn't seem to affect his career.